The St. Louis Cardinals are drafting number 5 overall in tonight's MLB Draft. So here's a look at who the experts think they will or should take with their pick.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I am JD Hafford, and I am your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Follow me on X at JD Sports Radio, as well as the podcast at LO_Cardinals. We're on YouTube, as well as TikTok, Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code Locked On MLB, get $20 off your first purchase. Cardinals dropped the first 2 games of their final series before the All-Star break against Atlanta, both one-run games. Saturday's game was a crushing defeat after coming back and taking the lead, only to see it evaporate in that 8th inning. We can discuss that stuff on Monday, but tonight is a big night because it's the MLB Draft. Not only are the Cardinals, first off, they're trying to salvage a game against the Braves today anyway, but it's draft night, and the Cardinals once again have a very good pick. In fact, it's a great pick. Number 5. They had number 7 last year, number 5 this year. Top 5 picks do not happen often for the St. Louis Cardinals. Last year, they picked in the top 10 for the first time in 26 years when J.J. Wetherholt fell to them at number 7 overall. And, so far, so good for J.J. He's already at AAA Memphis and doing well. We saw him in the Futures game yesterday where he led off the bottom of the first inning with a double. Finished 1 for 4 on the night, but so far so good in his career. J.J. Wetherholt was expected to possibly go number 1 overall last year, kept sliding, and all of a sudden just landed in the Cardinals' lap, and they're like, thank you very much. And he looks the part. He looks like he's going to be up in the major leagues for sure next year at some point. Maybe we'll see how things go this year. Maybe you see him in a Cardinals uniform at some point before this year wraps up. The Cardinals are set to pick at number 5 now, and this is the first time they've done that since 1998. Got J.D. Drew back in the day. Drew was the best college player in the nation at Florida State. Year before, taken number 2 overall by the Philadelphia Phillies. If you want to see somebody get angry, go ask a Phillies fan what they feel about J.D. Drew. They were unable to sign him. It was a money thing. He went back in the draft. Cardinals pounced on him at number 5. And although he never reached the ceiling that we all wanted him to, or we thought he was going to be, especially with the Cardinals, because he had some successful years after he left St. Louis with the Braves and the Dodgers and the Red Sox, but certainly worthy of the 5th choice overall. Had a solid MLB career, was an all-star in 08, won a title with the Red Sox. And let's not forget the Cardinals traded him to the Atlanta Braves. And when they did that, they got Ray King, serviceable left-hander. They got Jason Marquis, serviceable starter. And then that Adam Wainwright fella. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what he did, but yeah, pretty good. That one worked out. And this year, the Cardinals are hoping that whomever they grab at number 5 can be an impactful player as well. So who should we be keeping an eye on, really, is what I want to relay here to you today. Some of the bigger names that could fall to the Cardinals at number 5. John Denton at MLB.com had this to say, because the consensus is the Cardinals will either choose a top college pitcher or they're going to go with a shortstop. There's a couple of standout shortstops. And I know when we think of drafts, at least I do, I compare it immediately to the NFL or the NBA draft, where you think that person is going to immediately suit up in St. Louis and help the cause. But even though prospects are rising quicker than ever, there's still the long game to think about here. It's more like the NHL, where you take a kid and then you hope to see him in a couple of years. Sometimes they fly right up. Sometimes they're so good there's no use in keeping them down there. But a lot of times it takes a couple of years before you see them make an impact at the major league level. So when you hear shortstop, you think, why would we do that? Mason Wynn is here. J.J. Wetherholt, also a shortstop, is right behind him. Why would you pick another one? Usually it's because shortstops are the best athletes on the field. That's usually what it is. And they can be moved around. A guy who knows how to play shortstop and is athletic enough can also play second or third, or you can even, move him to the outfield at some point. Think of what the Padres have done with Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jackson Merrill. Think about that. So when you hear shortstop, don't necessarily think that that's where that person has to play if and when they reach the major league. So keep that in mind. That being said, I would prefer to have a pitcher right now. I think it's a lot harder to find elite pitching with strikeout, swing and miss stuff than it is to find and develop a really good hitter. But that's just me. It's what I wanted last year too, and they got J.J. Wetherholt, and I'm not complaining. So here's what Denton says about the Cardinals' plans this year. The Cardinals, who will be making their 12th single-digit pick in the draft's history, could have their choice of a highly ranked left-handed college pitcher or a high school shortstop with the number 5 pick. LSU's Cade Anderson, Florida State's Jaime Arnold, or Tennessee's Liam Doyle could be there for the taking for the Redbirds if they so choose. Or the club could opt for the potential high ceilings of high school shortstops Eli Willits or Billy Carlson. Willits, son of former MLB outfielder Reggie Willits, is not yet 18 years old and is the youngest player available in the draft. Now, even if the Cardinals don't choose a high school player with their first pick, they could head that direction with their second-round choices. They got number 55 overall, or their competitive balance round B selection, which is at number 72. Southern California powerhouse Corona High School could have 4 players picked on the first day, which is pretty incredible. So let's go to MLB Pipeline's mock draft, because they're the ones that I kind of trust the most with this stuff. And it's very similar to what a lot of the drafts around the internet are saying right now. Number 1 overall, most people think it's going to be Cade Anderson, pitcher from LSU, who was just an absolute dog. The Nationals got the number 1 pick. They just fired their GM, so who knows what kind of turmoil is going on with them. But many believe it will be Cade Anderson or Ethan Holliday, Matt Holliday's other son. Number 2 overall, they've got Liam Doyle, the left-hander from Tennessee, going to the Angels. Although I've seen some mock drafts have him drop as low as like number 6 overall. So the Cardinals could have a shot at him. At number 3, we're going to talk about Doyle in a little bit. At number 3, they got high school right-handed pitcher Seth Hernandez going to the Mariners. I have not seen him drop out of the top 3 in any of these mock drafts that I've been looking at. Ethan Holliday, they got going number 4 to where his dad started, to the Colorado Rockies, which, would be cool if he fell to the Cardinals, but the odds are not good there. And that brings us to the Cardinals at number 5, where MLB Pipeline and almost everybody has got them selecting high school shortstop Eli Willits from Fort Cobb, Oklahoma. The chatter I've seen around him, that he very well could be the steal of the draft at number 5, that some people think potential-wise he should be number 1. But people want pitching, and they want guys that can, like we're saying, where they impact their teams now, which is why these college guys will probably go ahead of him, which would leave Willits falling to the Cardinals. 6'1", 180 pounds, MLB's 2080 grade scale has him listed with a 60 hit, 45 power, 60 run, 55 arm and field, and has a 60 overall. Like Denton said, he's only 17 years old. He's the youngest prospect in the draft, reclassified himself to be eligible this year. So take that for what it's worth. Switch hitter, which is always nice. You don't see a lot of that anymore. And is said to be quite a mature hitter for his age, with excellent bat-to-ball skills and consistent line drive ability in the field. Good speed, strong arm, good defensive instincts, total package, and is said to be a more developed teenage version of Yankee shortstop Anthony Volpe, who a lot of people are very, very high on. I know his numbers haven't quite gotten to where they think they'll be, but obviously they've got some love for him at shortstop in New York. So most experts, including ESPN, The Athletic, CBS Sports, all have the Cardinals taking Willits at number 5. It seems to be the most, what do I want to say here? Like, he's the pick for most of the drafts. I would say 85% of them that I've seen, that Willits is the guy that they've got the Cardinals selecting. But also, let me remind you that last year, hardly anyone had J.J. Wetherholt falling to them at number 7, and it happened. And the Cardinals are more than happy about that. So just because this is what they think will happen in these mock drafts doesn't mean it necessarily will be so. but there's certainly a possibility that a lot of people are predicting that is what's going to happen. So keep that name in the back of your mind. Eli Willits, shortstop out of high school, Oklahoma. But let's go through some of the other prospects, because there's other guys that have fallen, and people are thinking the Cardinals could go there as well. So we'll see what they have to say about them coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trade. Supply House, whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product information to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you're going to find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. If you need some help with an order, they got you covered. Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, they've got that free Trade Master program, which is crazy if you haven't tried it yet, because it offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals, they're already taking advantage. I don't know what you're waiting for. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, you use the promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's SH5 for 5% off your first order with supplyhouse.com. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X anytime you want. The feedback is always welcome and encouraged. And even though most places have the Cardinals selecting Willits, there are some other names to watch here. One that I'm very much high on and excited if he's there at number 5 would be Jaime Arnold from Florida State. Left-handed pitcher. He's popped up quite a few times as a guy that might slide. MLB Pipeline has got him as the number 4 overall prospect. The scouting report says that Arnold made it clear he'd be a high-end draft prospect at 25 after turning in an outstanding sophomore season with Florida State last spring, finishing 3rd among all D1 pitchers in strikeouts, trailing only 2024 first-round picks Chase Burns, who's already been up with the Reds, and then Hagen Smith. The Golden Spikes Award semifinalists also finished with a sub-3 ERA and an impressive 159 to 26 strikeout to walk ratio, while helping the Seminoles reach the national semifinals of the College World Series. He capped things off with 4 hitless innings and 7 Ks for Team USA in an international friendship series against Chinese Taipei over the summer. Left-hander with a rangy body and a loose, whippy arm. Arnold has seen his stuff tick up since leaving Jesuit High School in Tallahassee. Coming from a lower arm slot and flat approach angle, the fastball, which was 88-92 in high school, is now sitting at 94 and 95, touches 97 as well, with a ton of life to miss bats. While his slider can be a little wide at times, the 82-85 mile-an-hour sweeping breaking ball is a second-plus offering that elicited a 41% miss rate in 24. His changeup is his 3rd pitch, and he doesn't need it much, but there's some feel for it. Arnold has shown the ability to fill up the strike zone and limit damage while maintaining his stuff deep into outings. With the funky arm slot, his stuff has drawn some comparisons to Chris Sale. It's a pretty good comparison since he's, one of the best pitchers in baseball, even though he's hurt right now. Just won the Cy Young Award for the National League. 21 years old, 6'1", 188. So he's not a big guy by any means. And I don't know, when you get into funky deliveries, Cooper Jerpy, who's a prospect for the Cardinals, arm injury right now. That's the kind of stuff you're looking at. Quinn Matthews, I think, has kind of an odd delivery. It's not as normal and smooth as you would like, because you worry about arm injuries. But scouting grades for Arnold here, fastball 60, slider 65, changeup 50, control at 55, overall a 60. We know that you can never have enough pitching, which is why someone like Arnold is very, very enticing. Another lefty that might go before the Cardinals pick, or, as I mentioned, could slip to them, is Liam Doyle from Tennessee. I've seen Doyle go as high as number 2 overall, but I've seen him drop as low as number 8 in drafts. MLB has him as the 8th best prospect, so he's behind Arnold in the prospect rankings, but here's their report on him and why he might go ahead of him. Doyle was Coastal Carolina's most effective starter as a freshman in 2023. Filled the same role at Mississippi last spring, averaged 13.7 strikeouts per 9 innings, which would have ranked him 13th in D1 behind 4 2023 first-rounders if he hadn't fallen an inning shy of qualifying. The 2025 Southeast Conference Pitcher of the Year led D1 in strikeout rate at 15.4 per 9 innings after transferring again and headlining Tennessee's rotation, vaulting himself into a top 5 pick consideration. Doyle's success centers primarily around his fastball, which sat at 91, 94 during his sophomore year. Now operates in the mid-90s, peaks at triple digits at 100. It has been the most untouchable hitter in college baseball this year, coming out of a high release point and exploding at the top of the zone. And he topped D1 by finishing 105 strikeouts with the pitch. 82, 85 mile an hour slider has become a solid offering, but they say he does leave it in the middle of the plate too often and also has that problem with his cutter where it's just going over the plate too much. We've seen that be a problem for a lot of people, but I mean, you can work on these things and work on how you to get those over the corners a bit more or zip it out over on the outside part of the plate. While he throws his fastball nearly 2/3 of the time, Doyle has 4 effective pitches after switching to using an upper 80 splitter as his changeup, which I love. Despite his dominance this spring, there are concerns about his ability to succeed as a starter at the next level because he has an unorthodox delivery and he constantly throws with maximum intent. That scares you a little bit because of the arm injury issues that, these guys that are just constantly just, and it's 100 and eventually the arm is going to say, okay, it's enough. So that's something you worry about. He does provide consistent strikes and has held his stuff deep into games and throughout the season. 21 years old, like Arnold, bigger though, 6'2", 220. Scouting grades, the fastball's a 75 on an 80 grade, which, that's good. Slider 55, cutter 55, splitter 55, control at a 50. Overall, they get him a 55 grade. It depends on what you want here. Do you want the power guy or do you want the guy that has better stuff overall? I see Doyle, and if he's not a starter, I see somebody who could be a dominant reliever at some point, which I know you're like, top 5 pick, and you're going to get a relief pitcher out of it. But you see how important they can be in ball games at the end of, at the end of the bullpen. So I don't really knock it all that much. But if the Cardinals don't go with either one of those 3 guys, if it's not Willits and it's not Arnold and it's not Doyle here, perhaps it's another one of those shortstops that gets taken instead. So I'll talk about the top 2 guys that they could be in play for the Cardinals at number 5 as well. We'll get to them next, coming up on Locked On Cardinals. Have you ever decided at the last minute that you just want to be at the ball game? Maybe it's game day. You suddenly realize, you know what? I want to be there. I want to be out in the stands. Well, that's exactly where Gametime comes in. The easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Gametime will make that possible. It makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch. And they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. They are the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for an exciting upcoming MLB game. Obviously after the All-Star break, whether, there's a bunch of, the second half of the season is going to be exciting. July is going to be an exciting time because we don't know where the Cardinals are going to go yet. We don't know if they're selling, they're buying, but they're in playoff contention. And Gametime has last-minute tickets and zone deals for big savings. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long with local analysis, but on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. So as much as it would be cool to see Ethan Holiday fall to the Cardinals at number 5, it's extremely doubtful that that's going to happen. But if the Cardinals don't go Willits, then they could go with another high school shortstop. Billy Carlson is the guy's name that keeps popping up. He's from California, to the one school, Corona, the powerhouse in California. That's where he's from. The scouting report says all summer he impressed with his athleticism and bat speed from the right side of the plate. It's more of a line drive approach at present with a good swing, but he has the chance to grow into more impact and average or better power, though not all evaluators were sold on his hit tool. There's an up arrow next to his run tool as he's worked to get faster and could be a plus runner in time. Even with all of his offensive upside, his glove might be ahead of his bat, with some scouts putting him as high as a 70 in the 20 to 80 grade there, 70 on the arm strength and defensive actions at shortstop. At one point, Carlson was thought to be a legitimate two-way player, kind of like our very own Mason Wynn, with a fastball in the mid-90s and a feel for spinning a breaking ball, but it will be his five-tool potential at a premium position that will get the Tennessee recruit selected in the top half of the first round, though his age at draft time, 19, might rule out some teams. Listed at 6'1", 185. Scouting grades give him the hit tool at 50, power 50, run 55, the arms at 65, fielding at 70, overall of 55. There's room to grow there, apparently. But if he's the defensive guy, I'm not taking him at number 5. Like, he needs to be better at the other stuff first. I'd rather work with upside hitting and just an okay fielder than the other way around, you know. The last shortstop I want to mention here, this is a college shortstop, though. Aiva Arquette, 21 years old. The size is something that stands out right away, 6'5", 220. Scouts see him as the best college player in the Pacific Northwest and one of the best college hitters in the country. 6'5", 220. That's got me drooling, man. That's a big dude who, again, if he doesn't play shortstop in the majors, it sounds like a third baseman to me. You could also move him to a corner outfield spot. Minor wrist surgery cut into his fall with his new school. The right-handed hitter showed he has easy raw power to tap into with more to come, and he's used it in games consistently this spring. Routinely barrels the ball with good bat speed and a fluid swing, giving him the chance to be an above-average hitter with above-average power, and he could hit 20 to 25 home runs annually as a big leaguer. While Arquette is an average runner and played second base in Washington, he showed on the Cape that he should have the chops to play shortstop long-term with easy action, soft hands, and more than enough arm with carry at every angle across the diamond. College bats with pop at a premium position are always a hot commodity, so Arquette should get plenty of attention in the first round. So those are the 5 guys that I feel like should be on your radar as far as what the Cardinals are taking. Ethan Holiday, again, would be great at number 5. Probably not going to make it there. Other guys that, like Kate Anderson, those guys, they're not going to be there. So these are the 5 that I think have a really good chance of still being there. And the Cardinals are going to have to make a decision. I would love a pitcher. I really would. But I felt the same way last year, as I mentioned, and the board fell their way, and J.J. Wetherholt just went plop right in their laps, and they were like, thank you, and they ran the card up there. It'll be hard not to pass up on one of these shortstops if they are available, but it depends on which pitchers go in front of their slot at number 5. Either way, the Cardinals should be able to land someone that's going to not only help improve their farm system tremendously, but hopefully their major league roster sooner rather than later. So enjoy the draft tonight. It starts at 6 o'clock Eastern time. So make sure you tune in for that. And obviously when the pick is made, we're gonna be up and running and have all the information on it and let you know what we feel about it and stuff. So make sure you're tuned in and locked in for that later on tonight. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio, TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason. And we will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals. Let's get a win today over the Braves too. My gosh.